What if I told you that your entire life, your desires, your goals, your happiness, is part of a system you never chose? A system that keeps you running, chasing, wanting, but never truly satisfied. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because that's exactly how it's designed. What if the world isn't freedom, but a prison? And the scariest part? You don't even know you're inside it. This is the philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the darkest yet most brutally honest thinkers in history. A man who dared to ask a question most people avoid. What if existence itself is the problem? In this video, we're going to talk about his ideas, and by the end, you might start seeing your life very differently. Schopenhauer wasn't just another philosopher sitting in a quiet room thinking about abstract ideas. He actually observed life closely, and honestly, what he saw wasn't pretty. He was born into a wealthy family, so technically, he had everything most people spend their lives chasing: money, security, opportunities. But here's the strange part. Even with all that, something felt off. So he did what most people don't do. He stepped outside his comfort zone. He traveled across Europe. And that's where things changed. Because everywhere he went, he saw the same pattern. Different countries, different cultures, different people, but the same reality. Struggle, suffering, restlessness. Nobody seemed truly satisfied. Not for long, at least. And that bothered him. Because while everyone else was busy accepting life, he couldn't ignore the question: why is suffering everywhere? Why does life feel so wrong? Instead of ignoring these questions, he went deeper, and what he discovered would shake the foundations of how we understand reality. According to Schopenhauer, the world you see is not the real world. It's a representation. Think about it. Everything you experience, your surroundings, people, even yourself, comes through your senses, your eyes, your ears, your mind. So what you're experiencing isn't reality itself, but a version of reality created by your brain. It's like wearing invisible glasses your entire life, but you don't even realize they're there. This idea came from earlier philosophy, but Schopenhauer took it further. He said, not only can we not see reality as it truly is, but what exists beyond our perception might not even be separate things at all. Instead, behind everything, there is one single force, a hidden engine of existence. And this is where things get disturbing. Schopenhauer called this force the will, but don't misunderstand the word. This isn't your personal will, like deciding to wake up early or go to the gym. This is something deeper, something unconscious, something blind. It's a force that drives everything in existence: plants growing, animals hunting, humans working, chasing, loving, fighting. At the core of it all is this restless, endless urge to continue, to survive, to consume, to reproduce, to keep going. But here's the key idea: the will has no goal, no final destination, no ultimate meaning. It just keeps pushing forward, forever. Now, think about your own life. You want something: a better job, more money, love, success. You work hard, struggle, sacrifice, and finally, you get it. For a moment, you feel good, but then what happens? That feeling fades, and suddenly, you want something else: more money, more success, more validation. It never ends. According to Schopenhauer, this is not a coincidence. This is the will working through you. It creates desire, then takes away satisfaction. It keeps you chasing, but never lets you arrive. That's why he believed life is a cycle of desire and disappointment. You either suffer because you don't have what you want, or you suffer because what you wanted wasn't enough. And when there's no desire left, you feel something even worse: boredom. Now, this is where the idea of the prison comes in. And honestly, this is the most uncomfortable part, because it's not a physical prison. There are no walls, no chains, no guards, but it's still a prison, because you are not just living your life. You are being driven by something deeper. Your choices, your goals, even your relationships are influenced by this endless force. And the worst part? You think it's all you. You think, I chose this. I want this. This will make me happy. But Schopenhauer would say, no, you are being pulled. Just like a puppet doesn't see the strings, you don't see the force controlling you. That's the prison, a system of endless desire, where you're always chasing and never free. And here's where it gets even darker. Schopenhauer didn't believe suffering was accidental. He believed it was was built into life itself. Think about it. You need food, hunger, you need money, stress, you need love, heartbreak. Every need creates a problem, and even when the problem is solved, another one appears. That's why he said, suffering is not the exception, it's the rule. Happiness isn't something stable, it's just the temporary absence of pain, and once that pain is gone, another one takes its place. Now, here's something interesting. Schopenhauer wasn't alone in this thinking. In fact, ancient Eastern philosophies had already been saying this for thousands of years, especially Buddhism. The idea that desire causes suffering. Life is an endless cycle. True peace comes from letting go. Schopenhauer was one of the first Western thinkers to seriously connect these ideas. He saw that both traditions pointed to the same uncomfortable truth. The problem isn't just the world, it's the way we are wired to experience it. So now the big question, if life is a prison, is there a way out? Schopenhauer gave two answers. First, the path of denial, asceticism. This is the extreme option. Reduce your desires, detach from pleasure, stop feeding the will. The idea is simple. If desire causes suffering, then eliminate desire. But this is incredibly difficult, almost impossible for most people. So he offered a second path, the path of art and reflection. This is more realistic. Schopenhauer believed that art, music, literature, philosophy can give you a temporary escape. When you deeply engage with art, you stop chasing, you stop wanting. For a moment, you just observe, and in that moment, the will loses its grip on you. You experience peace, not permanent, but real. But not everyone agreed with Schopenhauer. In fact, some thinkers completely rejected his view. One of them was Friedrich Nietzsche, and here's where things get interesting. Nietzsche looked at the same reality, the same struggle, the same endless desire, and came to the opposite conclusion. He said, what if this isn't a problem? What if this is the point? Instead of escaping desire, use it. Instead of avoiding struggle, grow through it. Instead of seeing life as a prison, see it as a challenge, a test, a game, and suddenly the same reality feels completely different. This view suggests meaning doesn't come from escaping life, it comes from engaging with it fully. So now you're stuck between two perspectives. Schopenhauer says, life is suffering, you're trapped, escape the system. Nietzsche says, life is struggle, embrace it, become stronger. So who's right? Honestly, maybe both, or maybe neither. But here's what matters. Schopenhauer doesn't give you comfort, he gives you clarity. Maybe he's right. Maybe life is driven by endless desire, and true satisfaction is impossible. Or maybe he's only seeing one side of the story. But even if he's partially right, his philosophy forces you to ask, why am I chasing what I'm chasing? Will it actually make me happy? Or am I just following the same pattern again and again? And once you start asking that, you can't go back. So, is the world a prison? Maybe, or maybe it only becomes one when you stop questioning it. Because the moment you become aware of your desires, your patterns, your impulses, something changes. You're no longer just reacting, you're observing, and that awareness might be the closest thing to freedom we have. If this video made you think differently about your life, then you're already one step ahead of most people, because most people never question the system they're living in. They just keep running, chasing, repeating. But you stopped and looked deeper. And maybe freedom was never about escaping the prison, but realizing you were inside it all along.